Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now on Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real.
I'm Assemblymember Latrice Monique Walker, and you're listening to Corey's Corner, where he always keeps it right, not real.
Today on Corey's Corner, we're joined by Tyra Wallace, a multi-talented mompreneur, actress, author, and advocate whose journey from the small town of Jayus, Mississippi, to the bright lights of New York City. She is rooted in purpose, resilience, and empowerment. A graduate of Jackson State University with a degree in dramatic arts, Tyra went on to earn her MFA from the New School prestigious Actors Studio Drama Program, where she honed her craft through theater and complex storytelling centered on authentic women's experiences. In 2013, Tyra became a household name following her breakout role on VH1's Love and Hip Hop, later appearing on WE's TV's Marriage Boot Camp and BET's After Happily Ever After. While television brought visibility, Tyra has used her platform to uplift women healing from heartbreak and rebuilding their lives. She is the co-author of The Goddess, Potential, and I Love Me More, and co-hosts the top-rated I Love Me More podcast focused on self-love, wellness, and personal growth. Above all, Tyra is a devoted mother of three, drawing inspiration from motherhood as she continues to empower women through storytelling and self-service. Welcome to Corey's Corner, sis.
Thank you. I feel like we should hug, actually.
Yes.
We go all the way back.
Been waiting for you to come on. Finally.
Yeah.
This episode of Corey's Corner is proudly sponsored by DC Cleaners, conveniently located at 13816 Farmers Boulevard in Springfield Gardens. DC Cleaners delivers quality, precision, and service you can count on. Call 718-525-6140 and experience the difference in professional care because your clothes deserve the best. Let's get into it.
Hey.
Yes. You going from small town Jayus, Mississippi, to major stages in New York and on television. How have your roots shaped who you are today, even as your platform has expanded?
You know, my roots are pretty much what keeps me grounded. And I know that's like so cheesy and corny, but one of the things that I found in the toughest of times was always going back to my roots in Mississippi, knowing where I've come from. And that is, I feel like sometimes, like when I think about going home, it's not, it's not like my parents are divorced, right? So it's not the home that I remember, like to come home, like you go away and we've lived these lives and we go back and our parents are good, just in this house with them. So, so when I think about home, it's just what I've already been taught. Right. And my father.
Morals and values.
Yeah, the morals, the values, how I saw women maneuver, how I saw them in the church, growing up, you as a little girl, you're sitting on the bed, you're sitting, your legs aren't closed, and your auntie be like, oh, she's sitting pretty high, baby, close your legs. So, I still remember those things,
So speaking of that, what early on experiences or influences planted the seeds for your creativity and resilience?
As far back as I can remember, I used to watch TV and I used to think that everything I saw on TV, I wanted to be that. Like, so if the show was like this badass chick that's a cop,
right, I
want to be a cop. Then in the next, the next thing, if she was like in this love story, I'm like, oh, I want to be her. So, as I got older, I'm like, well, what is that I want to be? What is that called? And I'm like, oh, an actor. And I knew from kindergarten, I would make little boys kiss me so I could practice my kissing,
Damn, I should have been in that kindergarten class.
Yeah, the worst is like when
all the Corey's Corner views, all the guys are gonna be like, "What's
school?" The women in my life growing up, right? They all, in some way, they have influenced my life. from my aunts, my grandmothers, and most of all, and one person I left out from before is my grandfather, who was a huge impact on my life. I think that my grandfather was at a space where, I think all grandparents get to, which is like, how do I have the same love, but with patience, that I wish I would have had perhaps for my children. And my grandfather was able to just pour into me and give me that.
It's funny you say that because I have a friend who's actually doing the same thing with his grandkids, kind of like pouring into them, I guess, as he didn't for his own children. So I understand that. How did attendance JSU and later the Actors Studio drama program shape not just your craft, but your sense of self? Because you was all out on your own.
Yeah, you know what?
And you coming from JS, Mississippi.
like that's
M-I,
a country.
crooked letter I,
yeah.
I, crooked, that's what...
well, M-I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback I. Yeah, I mean, listen, Jackson State was an amazing time. If I can go back and relive any period in my life, it would be college. I had like the best time. And
HBCU.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is a crazy story, and I don't want to tell this story because they may come looking for me. I was actually supposed to go to the Navy. When I think about this story and what's happening in America right now, I'm like, I cannot believe my parents let this happen. I went to go and visit my Air Force recruiter because I just finished taking the test, and he was not there. And my parents were like, anything other than this child talking about being an actor, military sounds safe enough. Good, let's do that. So I go visit my Air Force recruiter. He was not there. That night, my parents let me leave through the backwoods of Mississippi, going to, I think it was Alabama, to have my physical with a strange white man. He followed me home because like I said, the Air Force recruiter was not there. The naval recruiter was. He was like, oh, we can get your physical tonight. And I was like, I got to get the hell out of this town. So I was like, okay, let's do it. We drove to my house in the country. My parents were like, okay, she has to get the physical because the physicals are tomorrow. And they let me go. And I went, had the physical. And then I was like, let me just start college in the meantime. What I didn't know is my best friend's mom, the principal's wife, had already enrolled me in Jackson State. I had no idea. I was going to just work, maybe go to a community college, get some hours. I was like, let me just call Jackson State and see what's going on over there. And they're like, where have you been? This is before cell phones. I'm like, we've been trying to contact you. Like, you were enrolled and all your money's here. Your Pell Grant, your FAFSA, all these things. Right. So I was like, oh, then I'll see you on Monday. And I started Jackson State, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, how am I going to tell this naval recruiter I'm not going?
So you had enlisted.
I had enlisted, and I swore in once.
Right.
And so I was supposed to leave June 4th, 1996. And he was like, I remember by then I had a boyfriend. I remember calling him and saying, I'm not going to make it. I ain't going to be able to make it. Right. I'm not going to leave this campus. So he was like, well, you swore in one time, and we'll just go through whatever protocol to, But I was literally on this delayed enlistment program because I think I was like 89 pounds. I was so skinny. Right. You know, and so they were like, well, she needs to like...
bulk up.
But I was having fun by then. I was just like, this was wild. And then I found like theater. And
at Jackson State.
At Jackson State, yeah. Okay. I didn't even go and see I'm the kind of person that if there's something that can be done, I can do it. Right. And I don't spend too much time trying to get people involved. Like, let me figure it out. And so I remember going to Jackson State. I'm like, how does this work? They're like, okay, you go get this sheet with your major, and these are the courses you have to take. So I went and got that sheet. I'm like, these are the courses. Okay, good. I just started taking courses. And so when I finished, all the upperclassmen were like, we can finally tell you. But when you first came, we were like, who the fuck is this girl in our classes? And where did she show up? So when it was time to graduate, I'm taking stuff like music appreciation because my first year I'm taking all the classes that like all the stuff that I wanted to do.
Right.
And I didn't do it in order. So the people that I graduated with, they're like, why weren't you in acting? I'm like, I took that 2 years ago.
Right.
And they're like, but why? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't, I guess I should, you're supposed to talk to your counselor and come up with this plan. But I was like, how hard can this be? Like everybody just needs to everybody needs so much help when it's just self-explanatory.
Yeah, and you just did it on your own.
I just did it on my own, and I remember they were doing a play, or like these like little scenes from Bubbling Brown Sugar or something like that, a couple plays, and I just went into the department. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to audition. Like, what do I need to do? And everybody's just like, who the fuck is this? And so it was just an amazing time, but eventually, that did two things. I got to know the upperclassmen, even though they were like, who is this girl? And I still have relationships with a lot of those people now. And then I got to really grow with my class, like, because we were all actors and we were just trying to figure it out. And anybody who would nurture us in the space is what we gravitated to. And so at that time, the main acting teacher was Dr. Schooley, but then we had this young Black professor who's my mentor today, Dr. Mark Henderson and Mark G. Henderson. And he created this program called Mad Drama, Making a Difference Doing Respectful and Meaningful Art. And then we could just really dig deep into who we were and in the space of theater and just be immersed in that, and Mad Drama, we were just working on scenes, and then we would put shows together, and we would do them in churches and throughout Mississippi. So we were just having a ball.
I love that you tell this story about Jackson State and you studying and then going off to acting school. So for the audience to know that she wasn't just dragged off the street and thrown into love and hip hop, like probably 85% of them never really did acting, but you're a trained actress. And researching for the story, the producer, I had a lot of stuff to read. I kind of already knew that anyway, but it's nice to see that you wasn't on Love and Hip Hop to just start cursing people out and all this. Like you really are a trained actress. You probably was looking at the people like they was fools.
Well, honestly, it was I had really no intentions of ever doing Love and Hip Hop. That just was not a thing. It just so happened to come on my off days. By that time, I was done with graduate school. I was working in the restaurant industry, and Peter comes home one day and he's like, "Oh, these people want to meet you," and I was like, "For what?"
Man, Pete. What's up, baby?
Right. I'm like, "For what?" And he was like, "They just want to meet you," and I was like, "Okay." I was like 2 hours late to the meeting because I'm like, what do they want to meet us for? We have nothing going on. Like I go to work, I take care of the baby, you get on my nerves. Like we have nothing going on.
Right.
And so we went and they just seemed so intrigued by me. And I was like, something ain't right. So I remember this is how crazy it was. Like he was so nervous this day. He's trying to tell me something he can't tell me. It was so crazy. He gets on the train with me. And I'm like doing my makeup on the train that I normally do, like, the usual, when you live here, the shit you do.
Right.
And so he can't say whatever it is he's saying to me, but he's trying to say something. And he was like, I just take you for granted so much. And I'm like, what? Like, what? What are you talking about? I got to get to work. And I had no idea.
Right. So basically, Pete reeled you in?
Yeah, he just reeled me in. He just said, hey, we're going to do this thing. And then he was like really... all the stuff that was really, okay, Peter has a lot of music, right? But the things that I know backwards and forward that the world just hadn't heard. Right. And so, and not all of it is just rap or, in one lane. So at some point, he's kind of like all artists do, we go back and forth where we're in a good space or we're depressed or whatever it is, that artists go through. And he was at a low point. So I thought, and it was like, if this is going to make you happy and get you moving and in a better place, like, sure, I'll do it, whatever.
Let's do it.
But I still didn't know because I would see Love and Hip Hop on Mondays, right? Because I was like, again, that was like one of my off days. And
so hold on, Love and Hip Hop, it was already established before that.
Yes,
Y'all was
before it
like
was like 2
second or yeah,
years,
y'all
2,
was
3
like
years.
second or
Yeah.
third. Yeah, okay.
And I was just like, what's going on? All these women crying. What the hell is wrong with them? That's why you can't talk about people because you'll be on TV crying too. Snotting and looking crazy. And the producer's like, just do this. We ain't gonna use it. And then you do it and then they use
And then
it.
they use
Yeah.
it, yeah.
So, it was just like, okay. But by this time, I'm kind of like, I have my kids. I have 2 kids at this point and I'm working. And at that time, I was working at SDK, and SDK was like where everybody wanted to be.
Which one you was at? The one
The original
downtown?
one downtown. I
Downtown.
opened that one,
Yeah, that was a nice spot.
and it was just it was like wild.
Everybody's there.
It was just everybody was there, and
Mhm.
then uh, it was like if you wanted to get a table, then you had to come and see me.
Uh-huh.
So that gives like this sense of uh like a lot of people know you and you're just I don't I in a way like a socialite almost because a
Right.
lot of people know you and then after that people are inviting you out. So that was kind of the life. It's like I'm working the party.
Right.
And even now when I go out, it's so hard for me to go out. I feel like I should be working. I can't relax in a
Uh-huh.
club. Like I feel like I should be working.
Right.
And when people are like, you want to go out? I'm like, no, I don't want to go to work.
So before reality television, you were deeply immersed in theater.
Mhm.
What did portraying complex women teach you about authenticity and storytelling? Because you have to
Mm.
kind of go deep, strip yourself sometime, right? Playing a character.
Well, it depends on the method you study, but yes, the method I study, you do have to. I mean, that's the fun part, right? To really go deep and to figure out who this person is, and the idea of saying what the character's saying in that moment. Like, why must it be said right now? And so you have to go and you have to build all of that up. And that was very difficult. Graduate school wasn't easy for me. Like although I had studied theater in Mississippi, um, it wasn't as organized like when you start really getting into like the acting forefathers and what method are you studying.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was very difficult for me because I mean my acting teacher sometimes like all of the things you could think of like when you go back and you watch shows and they're taking acting class, I experienced it. Like you do a monologue and my Barbara Portier, my acting teacher at that time, who I was deathly afraid of, would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, well, you're doing nothing. That's what you're doing. So, I had to really fight for that, fight to be in that program. There were a couple of times I had to go before the board, because my life was very different. And it was difficult. So when I finished that program and we all graduated, we were looking for a reason as to why we weren't working. Right. Because it's like, well, I have this master's, I should be working.
Right.
And so reality TV at that time was like, ew. Like they're taking our jobs.
Right.
Just any reason to say they're taking our jobs, but I never
that was
envisioned.
a real feeling for trained actors and actresses before reality TV.
And so right before I did reality TV, what brought me from New York originally was I was interning at Crossroads Theater, which was one of the 8 Black regional theaters in the world.
Uh-huh.
And so I had an internship there, and it was you just immersed again in theater, and just all of these people that are just coming in and out of the theater that were donating and them trying to sustain, and so I had done that right before. Then I did a moment at Vassar College. They had a theater program there for a summer. I did that, which was really interesting. And
so
then
how did you meet Peter Guns for audience? How
So
did you meet Peter?
I met Peter. The internship was over, and then I'm starting graduate school now, and I'm just kind of like trying to find my way and trying to find places to work. So I ended up getting a job at this place called Sam Ash, which is like where all the musicians went.
downtown?
The one it was like
City Hall.
48th Street.
Oh, the one on 48th.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was like the main one. So everything was there, like Pro Audio and then Woodwinds and
Yeah, they have everything.
So I was working there, and everybody would come in there.
Of
Everybody would come in there. Like I never really tell this story, so this will be the first time I'm telling the story. But I met Stevie Wonder there, and he would come and be like, "Tell Charnosh to come outside and talk to me." So I would just be like casually, my little 20-something-year-old self, like going outside and hang out with Stevie Wonder for a second. And I'm just like, my brain just couldn't process like what it was just all happening so fast. But, you know, just everybody was there. I think the only person that came that I did not meet was Luther Vandross. Like he was there at Manny's one day, which was right next door. So Peter came in one Sunday and I rang him up and that was that. And then the sales associate said, who just rang up Peter Guns? And I was like, who's Peter Guns? I had no idea.
Right.
And so, you know, it started there.
Okay.
I ended up calling him like a couple weeks later because I was like, oh, if he comes in again, let me just say I called him.
Right.
And from then on, like we both just became like the best of friends from the first date. But that was like a little connection with Prince. We're both obsessed with Prince.
Yeah.
And then that's how it started.
Nice. Love and Hip Hop introduced you to a wide audience. How did sudden visibility change your life, both positively and negatively? Because the show was like a hit. Everybody was glued to the show.
Yeah. You know, so that kind of changed overnight, some of it, right? Like in terms of like social media, because I didn't have really social media before that.
Right.
So the social media changed pretty quickly. So some of the positive things, I think, and this is more internal because everything's about how do we take on certain things. It taught me that there is no such thing as no. People either want you or they don't. So I think it gave me the confidence to be like, cut the bullshit. Do you want me or no? Like, don't fuck with me. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, so I think before then I would be very much so in my Southern spirit, like, well, baby, let me know, you know, and it changed immediately because I saw people changing. So I realized that there's no such thing as no. It's like if people want you, they will cancel, they'll reshoot, they'll redo everything if they really want you. And so it cut that filter out for me. So I'm not begging for people's time or begging for whatever they can do for me to help push my career at that time, which is what I wanted. And it can be done graciously, not mean, you know. And I think negatively, the worst part about it is people change because they think you have changed. So I got to experience, that started happening to me very early on, seeing people change or people creating conflicts. And I don't really know how to solve it because I don't know the problem. And the problem is just deeper than anything that's on the surface. It's something with them.
Right.
So that was very difficult, I think, the most difficult thing, to see people change.
I'm glad you said that. So what aspects of your story do you feel were misunderstood during your time on reality TV? Because like your book is kind of open, right? I know some stuff y'all probably didn't show, but pretty much was an open book, especially your relationship.
Yeah, it was pretty much an open book. You know what? That part of it, I don't really like to talk about. I try not to talk about it because people are going to have an opinion based on wherever they are in their life.
You're right. Because they'll be on social media tomorrow when it's
saying
drops.
whatever it was. So I mean, in terms of that, it's just what it is. I think that the truth of it is, you know, and what women or people don't want to talk about is you don't have to be right or wrong for a person to do something that they want to do. You could be the best person in the world and people will do it regardless. And I think that when somebody wants something, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, they're going to get it.
Right.
And so I think the thing was I wanted people to see that there's a right here and a wrong and that you can own the wrong, just say it, right? Don't try to make the wrong you've done right. Just fucking be loud and wrong.
Right.
And I think that at some point I really wanted that. And then I just didn't give a shit. Like, whatever. Fuck it. Who cares?
I love it. Love your little feisty spirit. Well,
but I really wanted that, you know, because like when let's say, for instance, as a woman, if you're dating someone, right, and you considered everything to be right, and this is your family, you want people to respect it as such, right? But it just wasn't how people were taking it. And so I had to let it go. And I think that part of it was like distancing myself. Like people have the right to their opinion and people have the right to be wrong in whatever way they want to be wrong.
Right.
But the problem that people were not ready for is when I choose wrong. Like, okay, we all gonna be wrong then. And I don't think people were ready for that, or, you know, but
So healing in private is hard enough.
yeah.
Healing in the public eye teaches you about self-worth and emotional resilience,
Hmm.
right? Because you gotta heal. So let's cut the chase. So you and Peter was together for a long time. Y'all have 2 kids.
Hmm.
He's dating Amina, this other girl. He ends up getting her pregnant. Y'all together, y'all on, y'all off,
Hmm.
whatever. And now he eventually tells you that she's pregnant and he's having a
Hmm.
baby. And you have to deal with this in the public eye.
Right.
Um, how difficult was that for you?
That was difficult. Because again, I wanted people to see that there was a right and a wrong
Right.
and what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And and then it was difficult in the fact that, I like again, like as any woman who has had children with someone, and we were together for a long time, and then we had kids, it's like, you want your family, and nothing is happening visibly
Mm-hmm.
until this moment. Not that we didn't have problems, that would
Right.
say I should leave this or I should
Mm-hmm.
move on. So most of my memories of New York was Peter. So it was almost like, this is my guy. Like,
Right.
I'm sure of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that is challenged. It's
Right.
like, how do I now redefine that? Because everything is together. So I was pissed. I was angry. I was all of the things that a person could be. I was.
But you stood heads above the average woman. You do know that, right? we have to really put this out there. I have to say this to the audience. You are a woman amongst women, because probably 90%, maybe even tipping the scale a little higher, of women is not going to even heal from that.
Right,
You take
right.
it to another step. You and her become like cordial because you wanted the kids, that's their sibling
Right.
over there. Most women ain't doing that.
Right.
Like, how deep did you have to dig to do that? Because
I'm still digging down that rabbit hole.
I know
No,
you are.
no, really and truly,
Tara, most women ain't even do it. They cutting a guy
Right.
off for sure.
Right. No, and there have been times where we have cut each other off and not spoken or been around, or all of that happened.
Right.
But what happened was, right, there comes a point of no return. Right, there's like cheating, right, and then there's like marrying her, which is just a whole other thing,
Right.
which I don't really care to dig into. But once a person has a child, now we're there. Right. Now that's the point of no return. Right. And so then it becomes like, I gotta like check out and try to go live my life a little bit.
Right.
So there are parts of me that just checked out and, try to move on from it.
When social media tries to define you, how do you protect your peace and decide which voice matters? Do you even care about what goes online? I have a little social media present,
Right.
and sometimes I'm cursing people out. I don't even
Right.
care. I'm like, fuck
Right.
you and your mother and everybody you ever know.
But
But then I have friends, Tyra, to be like, yo, bro, chill. Leave
leave
them alone.
I mean, okay, obviously if somebody says something that's triggering, but what I found about social media is you will never win because they have nothing to do.
Right.
At some point you have to stop, right? You have something to do tomorrow. You gotta go, you have to go to sleep. It will not stop. All right. So I just kind of checked out of it a little bit. Like literally, I think that, okay, the truth, let me just say this, and going back to that time. It was really important for me, which I'm already good at, is compartmentalizing things. So I think that you have to learn to compartmentalize certain things and deal with it as you can. So while the season was going on and this was happening, I was just kind of going with the wind. I'm still working at SDK, so I'm still partying all the time and
Right.
having a good time. I have, so there's so many things going on. And then when it stopped, right, and that's when I became extremely angry, because then it becomes like, who the fuck does he think he is?
Right.
Like when it got quiet, and that's kind of where the energy of the Goddess Potential, when we co-authored that, where it came from. Because I'm like, no matter, although this is happening and people have a lot of things happening in their life, but what do you do? You know, I mean, how do you still take care of yourself? Like, how do you define yourself outside of now this new space?
Right.
And so when Allie and I partnered with that, it was literally the height of it. And I'm like, instead of talking about or a tell all or all this other stuff, I want to just do something totally different.
Right.
Like, I don't even want to talk about that because
Right.
every person is dealing with some heavy, hard shit.
Right.
But now, how do you try to find some type of growth within yourself while all of that's happening?
Dope. Okay, so Tyra, we have a segment on this show called the Spitfire Round.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm gonna ask you rapid fire questions. You're gonna give me one word answers or yes or no.
Okay.
It's a fun game.
Okay.
One word that describes this season of your life.
Growth.
Healing or hustle?
Hustle.
What comes first, peace or passion?
Passion.
A habit you had to unlearn to grow.
In order to grow, you must change.
Okay. Motherhood in one word.
A wave. Wave.
One boundary you'll never compromise again.
Setting them.
A daily non-negotiable for your mental health.
My coffee.
Okay. Fame, is it a blessing or a lesson?
A lesson.
One thing women need to stop apologizing for.
Being
The strongest version of you is...
that I need to be softer.
You little tough cookie. Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. Okay. That was good.
What's up, y'all? I'm Derby St. Fort. Make sure you check out Corey's Corner on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Before we continue, I want to just talk about my book, Once a Cop, The Street, The Law, Two Worlds, One Man. It's a story about a young, misguided kid that gravitated to the streets at a young age, changed his life, become an executive in the biggest police department in the country. And also have a featured documentary on Apple TV and Hulu called A Cops and Robbers Story. It actually goes a little bit deeper into the book and the rest of my life. So hopefully you all can view it or read it. And if you haven't, and you do look at it or read it, send me an email at oncoryscorner@gmail.com and let me know your thoughts. Thank you. So, Tara, before we continue, I can't do this show without us acknowledging our good friend, our brother, who left us way too soon. And that's how I met you. He was our lawyer and the lawyer for a lot of friends, Peter, Stevie J, a lot of people. Ed Woods, I miss him, man.
I miss Ed, yeah.
I miss him so much. He loved and adored you. He'd be like,
Aw.
yo, life, you gotta meet Tara. You gotta meet Tara. So, well, let me meet Tara. Hurry up, let's go.
That's so crazy. You know, I met Ed Woods when Corey signed to Casablanca. And I just went to the office, and he was in there getting his haircut. He would have the barber come to the office.
Right.
And so, you know, he was just like this kid just doing his thing, you know, and he was so cool. At that time, I never knew that one day he would be, you know, my attorney, and you know, because he was, you know, in the industry, and then he did become my attorney, and that was always the thing. Every time, you know, I signed a contract, they were like, "Let me guess, is Ed your lawyer?"
Yeah.
They hated it because they knew, and Ed and I, this is one of the things he taught me. He was like, you know, he would say, present to whatever they said,
Right.
and then he was like, "Okay, what do you want?" And then after that, he was like, "Are we walking?"
Right.
And then it would always be, "We're walking." Like, you know, if it was something, and then so that means that if they didn't agree, we're not going to keep going back and forth.
Right.
It's like you're either going to say yes,
Right.
give it to us, or leave us alone.
Yeah.
And one day we did the "Are we walking?"
Mhm.
And then they came back and was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh shit, now I've got myself in a mess." They agreed to that.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, "They agreed to that." Next thing you know, I was on my way to LA to do that. So,
Right.
you know, with that, you know, just you know, like sometimes things are a full circle, and little things that you share in common. And one of the things that, although Ed was my lawyer, one time I just met him at this pub, and they were playing like a bingo or some type of guess this. And I'm so grateful that I had that moment to just
Right.
sit and him just be a person and not have to answer a bunch of legal stuff that nobody understands but him.
Right.
And we got to like just play that game, and I have pictures of it because
Yeah.
we were losing because I was a part of it. You know, he didn't have a good partner in winning whatever the
Right.
trivia game was, and his head is just down like. So yeah.
Fun fact about Ed, his picture is on the wall in Midtown Manhattan. I forget the name of that restaurant. There's a restaurant in Manhattan, and I got a bunch of celebrities.
Oh, wow. Ed is
And
on that wall.
so yeah, and he also had a condo in that building. So one day he's like, "Yo, let's go to this restaurant." Unbeknownst to me, I don't know that Ed pictures that he strategically sits me at this table, and I'm admiring all the pictures. Then I'm like, "Oh, yo, look, your picture's there."
Oh, wow.
And he's like, "Yeah, man, I had a condo upstairs for like 8 years. I mean, I really miss him. He left all of us. You know, he made us friends and a lot of
Yeah.
other people. I'm just mad that he wasn't here to see, like, he negotiated this book deal
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and everything. But miss you, Ed. We miss
Yeah,
you. We
definitely
love you.
miss Ed.
So you've been open about healing from failed relationships. What was the hardest truth you had to accept in order to move forward?
I think I've been open about just healing, right? And relationships are just a part of the journey. I think that, it's so important that, women understand that there's so much more than relationships or the idea that if we don't live up to this idea of perfection, that we are unworthy. It's like the thing that I despise.
That's deep.
And I think that that's how women feel. And although we would not like it if it were on us, we put the same burden on other women. So I think that it's so important that women define themselves, just go all out, get it wrong. Because that's really what it is, right? And every idea you have doesn't always go well. So that's failure. But for some reason, for women, we feel like we don't own the space to fail or to be wrong, or that we must get it right, or that our worth is tied up on within, people that are not necessarily, I don't want to say smarter than us, but why does their opinion matter so much? And I think that the idea of healing is, first of all, just understanding that you deserve space to be. And then once we understand that, once we understand that we have space to be, then that's just going to come with failures. And then people who cannot deal with that can just kind of fall off.
Right. In the Goddess Potential, you emphasize developing a relationship with your inner self. What does that relationship look like when life becomes heavy?
Oh, that looks like you have to be 100% honest, truthful. That's the place where you have to be so honest. That's the place where you have to really go deep. Am I crazy? Am I psycho? Am I all of the things? Or am I not? Like it's your inner self is where it is the moment where no one's watching, where you have to be truthful. And if you can't be truthful in those moments, then you can't be truthful any place else. But I think once we accept a lot of things about ourselves, when we accept them, people can't weaponize them. We're clear on what it is that we're doing. And, I don't, it's weird, right? Because we lie to ourselves so much, because, and that's fine. Sometimes I feel like, like to boost yourself up or to make yourself feel good. But then when all the lights are off and you're laying in the bed, and this happens to me every night, like I'm jolted out of my sleep by either, sometimes, and I know I'm going in a circle here because all these ideas are popping in my head, but like, have you ever argued with somebody and you just knew you were right? I mean, you were right. You have called all your friends. You were right. But then you wake up because something, when no one is talking to you and it's completely silent, and you wake up and you realize that you were indeed completely wrong. Right? And I think that, that's where all of the truth, where all of the layers and everything is peeled, and it's just you and the nasty feelings of your disappointment, of whatever you feel about yourself. And if you can just strip down to that, right, then you can begin to build yourself up.
Okay. I Love Me More centers self-love as a foundation. Why do you think so many women struggle to choose themselves without guilt?
Oh, because loving other people feels good. Number one, it gives us a purpose. It gives us like
Loving other people can feel
it
bad
can
also.
feel, but women, we like to hang on to that. I loved him for 25 years. Like that gives us purpose. And then
Okay.
it really keeps us from having to look at ourselves by constantly putting things off
Mm-hmm.
onto other people. I mean, it's really nasty when you have to learn to love yourself because, again, you have to be so truthful because then it becomes like maybe you really don't feel like you're worthy of love. And where does that come from? And then how can you change that? What are the ideas around that? People think that sometimes, like even the skincare and my social media, because people love to say this, they're like, I'm self-love, not just skincare, but it is the art of caring for yourself. How do you start that?
Mm-hmm.
Does it start with just washing your face? And then you realize, oh, my face is still dirty after one wash. Maybe I need to do it twice.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you need to go back and visit some things and make peace with it. First of all, if you're constantly if you don't love yourself, right? And this is one of the things that I even talked to my mom about. If you don't love yourself and you don't have the discipline to do what it takes for you, how do you expect another person to even take that task on when you
Right.
like maybe they're battling the same things you did?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the whole point in all of this is to, kind of like the alchemist, it takes you around the world just to realize what you're looking for is just right there.
So you've been working with a lot of nonprofits. What common patterns or struggles do you see in women when they're trying to start over?
One of the common patterns that I see, people not feeling like they're worthy of great things and love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or because it wasn't there. And sometimes if it's not there initially, we don't really even know what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so sometimes that's a very lonely journey and people are unwilling to be lonely to get there.
How do you balance being vulnerable enough to help others while protecting your own peace and mental health?
Mm,
Because a lot of women look
yeah.
up to you. A lot of
Hmm.
people, I see your social media. I see you hot. You hot in the streets
Oh,
out here.
no.
So a
Um,
lot of women are looking at you, and it's sometimes like you're not always shooting 100 on 100.
Right. No, I'm not. And so what I try to do is incorporate that. So if I take it back to acting school, one of the things is like when we tackle a role, you tackle that role with whatever you're feeling for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you're giving life to these words. So the scene could seem like the person is laughing and it's funny, but they could be tormented about something that happened last night. So it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you push through to make that happen, right? To make these words come to life, knowing you're feeling. So it's like I can laugh. It doesn't mean that I'm not hurting,
Right, right.
right? So I think again for me, it's always truth using that. So even if I'm not feeling my best, or even if I sometimes I film something, I look at, I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking getting old. I look old. I don't want to post this video. Then I'm like, fuck it, yeah, I'm looking old. What are we gonna do? So I try to use it because guess what? There could be, when you're young, you think you're gonna be young forever, and then you see yourself getting old. You're like, well, shit, I didn't see myself with these eyes and all of these new things. So just try to use it because like there could be someone dealing with that, but it's just inevitable.
Right. You might have answered this, but what role does storytelling play in healing, not just for you, but for the
Mm.
women who hear your story?
Storytelling is so deep for me because like back to graduate school, when I go back and I read some of those plays, they have so much more meaning now that I've lived a little bit and I've experienced such mature feelings, you
Right.
know, um, and now I understand perhaps what the story that's being told or what's happening in people's lives. I mean, storytelling is important because it gives people the freedom to be a little bit more. Like maybe if they see it, maybe if they're introduced to something, maybe if they realize like it's just not going to be perfect, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that gives them that frees them a little bit to live or to do something that they never dreamed they would do. I'm always inspired by a lot of my friends who redefine themselves, or even women that I used to meet at when I worked in the restaurant industry, and they have turned over and they have new careers. And even just last night I reached out to a woman that I knew, and I loved their family, and I didn't know that she'd gotten a divorce, and I'm like, damn, when I think about that time, it will never be that again. That
Right.
time will never be again. That existed, and now people have moved on, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
holding on to the thoughts of something that
Right.
happened. So storytelling is always important, not just for the artist, but for imitating aspects of life to free
Mm-hmm.
up other people.
So you often say we can't talk to you without talking about those 3 beautiful boys that you have. You often say motherhood. Now hold on, let me get it. Jameson, Kaz, and Gunner.
And Gunner, yeah.
Okay, not in
Yeah,
any
yeah.
particular order.
Yeah, in
Don't
that
hold me
order.
to the order.
In that order.
Okay.
You're perfect.
Look at
Yes.
that. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the record, I think they all look like Peter.
Oh, wow. I don't know who they look like. I really want a blood test on all those kids. I really do. I want a
Girl,
blood test on all this. I don't even know if I'm their mother.
I like it. You don't even know
I
who
don't
they
even know
mother.
if I'm their mother. I just know I was sick. I went into a hospital every time they gave me a kid. I don't even know. You know, it's weird.
That's funny. So you often say motherhood fuels your creativity. What have your sons taught you about strength, love, and legacy?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I see before the show, before
like
we
that,
start interview,
yeah.
Gunner is calling you and
Gunner's calling
and
me,
calling
trying
you,
to get out of his
calling
own
you.
part. Trying to like the thing about Gunner is that he doesn't realize he's the baby. He wants to like Jameson was. They always say that the oldest is so sweet and quiet because they have
Right.
nothing to really compare anything to.
Uh-huh.
But Gunner has like 2 brothers to compare all of his nonsense to. It's just like no, I'm not gonna do this, and he's talking back, and he's wild. I feel like he's more like his dad. Because with the whole like little New York energy. The other boys are very like Mississippi like, very yes ma'am, no ma'am, very sweet. And Gunner's like, no. Like they teach me that I have to tell them all the time. I have to apologize for a lot of things. I have to go back and love them. I have to go back and say, maybe that just wasn't right. And I even say, I tell Jameson often, I'm like, I want to be very clear. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. I don't know and I'm a much better mother to your brothers because of you. And I'm sorry that you are the oldest and you have to grow with me and my trials. But the most I can do is make sure you understand that I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm just a person. Like I know I seem like I have it figured out, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you realize I'm a real bad mom, we'll be in therapy together. So don't worry about it. Right.
I love it.
Like I think that was. Now, those failures were different, right? Because you have a life and your only job is to do good at that. And when you realize, like, when you rethink something, or maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe this, maybe that. Those failures, they hit different because they affect someone that you love unconditionally. And so it's a lot of conversations. Like, at first, Jameson, when he first became a teenager and we're kind of going back and forth and kind of fighting. And now we're kind of mellowed out and I kind of let go because I realized like I really don't. This is his own person, right? And they have to learn. How can I help guide them? And I think that was really hard for me to let go. And I tell him, I'm like, it's really hard for me to let go of you in ways that. And I'm like, I never let you cry because I couldn't handle you crying.
Right.
I used to always tell you to just stop crying, and that was wrong of me. But I couldn't handle seeing your heart broken.
Right.
And that's something I got much better at with Kaz and your brothers, but there's so much I had to learn with you. And I just wanted to protect you and shield you. And that's not necessarily the right way, but it was the only way I knew.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not uncommon. It's funny because I got old kids, I got grandkids, I got young kids. Some like 3 younger kids. Christmas, they getting Air Jordans, they getting like Travis Scott sneakers, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So my daughter Kenyatta called me a few weeks ago. She was like, I want back pay. I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's like, we didn't have no life like they had.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, yo, I was broke. I was young and broke. She was like, nah, we taking you to court because we didn't have no life. We want child support.
Reparations.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said she want reparations. So you're not the only one that deals with that.
Their dad is so lenient.
Of course, that's what we do.
And not just like, that caused us to bicker as parents. Cause I'm like, no, like where I'm from, dads don't get involved. But if the mom calls the dad, right, you're in trouble because the father's like, why you not listening to your mother?
Right.
But he will be like, you focused, right? I'm like, he did this, he did that. And then he's like, I'm going to talk to him. And I'll be like, okay, well, what'd you say to him? I asked him, was he focused? I said, get focused.
That's what dads do. Today's dads.
I'm like,
Today's
bro, I don't
today's
care about his
dads.
focus levels. I want you to yoke him up.
Nah, listen. I remember my
Yeah.
son Corey Jr. He'll be 39 this year, 40.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he was kindergarten or first grade, live in Brooklyn. I probably was 17, 18 when I had him, whatever. And his mother called me.
Mm.
It was like, he messed up in school. Come out here and whip his ass. Went out there, whipped his ass. He was crying. I was crying.
Right.
I told her, look, don't call me no more.
Right.
But I
That
can't do
That
this.
happened.
I can't be
Oh
hitting my
God.
kids. I'm a talker. I'd rather talk.
The first time Peter had to, like, I guess really, yoke Jameson up for a second. I didn't see the yoke, so I don't even know. Like,
Right,
it was a
right.
real, like, yoke.
Uh-huh.
At this point he's like 16 and just talking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just know something happened in the room. I didn't hear anything.
Right.
He comes out the room crying as he's leaving. I'm just
It's tough.
and then I think in that respect, he said stuff to my kids. He was like, your mom used to get her ass whooped. So
Uh-huh.
so my kids be like, are you the last generation to get your ass whooped? And so it's like, you were abused, right?
Right.
So they're in the room basically talking about my abuse.
Right.
And so I'm
That's
like,
how
bro.
these kids are today. It's crazy, but we're winding down now. For women listening who feel caught between who they were and who they are becoming, what would you want them to know about trust in the process?
I mean, when people say trust the process, right? It's just like, it's not like you're falling down like a hole and just trust that there's, a trampoline that's going to bounce you back up. It's like, just, really go with your gut feelings. If there's something that's in you to do, just find ways to do it. I believe this from the first time that I ever moved here, which is the universe cannot provide, or God, whatever people believe, right? It cannot provide what you don't allow it to provide. You actually have to start the process of whatever it is you want to do, and then everything will fall in line. Because if you don't start the process and challenge the world with what you want, it can't be provided for you. To just do it, even if it fails, like, just do it. I think that sometimes people feel like if it's not aligned perfectly, then it's not meant, and that's just not really how that goes.
Right.
Like, whether you do it and you had and it was great, or you do it and it was bad, it was still meant for you to do.
Right.
And you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so trusting the process is really just like your gut. What is your gut telling you to do? And sometimes you have to get really quiet to do that, because like, if I think about what it is I really wanted to do and where I am now, it's just so many things that now I'm getting certified in Pilates. Like, I just started Pilates one day. I became obsessed with it. I'm like, oh, I want to teach it. I want to be a part of this journey for women. Yeah, I love it.
Men do Pilates too?
You should.
Me?
I have to, I think my certification. I should train you. I need 5 hours. 10. I need 10 hours from you.
10 hours in a
10
week?
hours. I mean, we can space it out. I got to get you 5 hours on the floor and then 5 hours on the reformer.
I got to stretch?
So this is the thing that I love about Pilates, right? You just feel amazing. Once you start it, it's like, how did I live my life without this? Like, my mobility is different. Just how I function in the world and move about. It's amazing. So I love Pilates.
Okay, so I'll make a deal with you. If the proprietor here, my man Super Mario, if Soup do it, you got 2 clients. We got to get Soup on it.
Soup,
So
is that
Soup,
a yes or no?
Soup was in a very, very, very bad accident.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sidelined for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
And so he probably want to do it. He probably needed more than me. I could walk. I got my limp. It's not a bebop no more, but we both got a limp, but it's not bebops no more. But we'll talk about
I loved
that.
it because you just feel better. Yeah.
I hear a lot about it. Before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't covered?
I So the podcast is actually it's been picked up by Tubi. I think we can say that now. So it was originally on, some of it was on YouTube, but it's not anymore. And the name of the podcast is called I Love Me More. And we also have a book called I Love Me More, which I partnered with Dr. Jamila T. Davis as I, was pivoting out of reality TV and really having to trust the process about, the next steps of my life and working in purpose. Dr. Jamila literally asked me to come and do something like a couple years ago. And it was like this round table in Newark and having these very intimate conversations with women. And COVID hit, like right as these women were finishing this class. And then after COVID, some time, I hit her up, and the real thing was that I'm like, yo, I'm pivoting, and everything's falling, and so I want to be around women who are actually working and who are actually doing something that's not just about them. And she was like, all right, give me some time, and let's talk. And like, that's exactly what happened. She was like, let's talk in September. Next, in September, we were writing this book, I Love Me More, which is like, 8 steps to breaking free from toxic relationships. We program with that in schools, and, which is just great because not just because of the schools, but to have young girls having conversations around toxicity. I talk about how, back in the day, you in the workplace, you may take somebody slapping you on your ass because you want to keep your job, right? But then those things, especially young people, there's so many things just not tolerable anymore, and I love that about them. And what does that look like as you're kind of venturing out into the world and in different spaces without your parents and building relationships? Like, how can we talk about, or what are the tools and steps that we can talk about to get you in the right place? And then also, women that come on the podcast, a lot of these women are sharing stories that they've never shared before. And ideally, that's a part of storytelling and giving courage and strength to another woman to share her story or to realize something. I love it. Sometimes I'm just, the podcast, when I first did it, I'll tell you this, I was like, I don't even know if I'm mature enough to have these conversations. Like, even though I was in a healing space, these were some conversations that I had never really been around. And what I chose to do is like being true to myself and just being there for different women, and us forming circles where we're there for each other in different ways as best as I know how. And I found like that freed me from certain things to just be in community with them.
Well, we make sure that everybody check out I Love Me More podcast.
I should have brought you a t-shirt.
You got to tell Jamila, I need Jamila to come on the show because she has, Dr. Jamila T. Davis has an awesome story.
Yes.
We definitely want to talk about her story and her progression and what she's doing today. I'm very, very proud of her. Where could people find you if they're looking for you? Twitter, Instagram? You give the handles.
You can find me everywhere, all the social media platforms. I am Tara Wallace, and that's pretty much it. I'm there.
Okay. Well,
reach out to me if you're looking for me.
Thank you for joining us today. Your honesty, grace, and willingness to share your story, your journey from self-discovery and healing to motherhood and empowerment has been very truthful and powerful. I really appreciate you. We appreciate you for using your voice and your story and your platform to uplift women. You really are uplifting women around the country and the world and creating space for self-love, boundaries, and truth. This conversation is going to resonate deeply with so many people. We're going to be promoting the hell out of this, who needed to hear exactly what you shared today. And by the way, this episode will be airing during Black History Month. It's Black History Month. This will be airing at the end of Black History Month. So I was trying to squeeze you in. It was like, get you in a Black History Month or March is Women Month. So I couldn't go wrong either way to get you in.
Yes.
But thank you for being here on Corey's Corner, and thank you for the work you continue to do. And thank you for being my sister and being there anytime I call you, always picking up the phone. I really appreciate you. For our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, make sure you follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep pushing, keep grinding, and remember, it's not about where you start. It's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Special thanks to our executive producer, our engineers, and much respect to Corrupt Mob for making Corey's Corner possible.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. For one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop, I used to